All right, let's dive into a theory that's going to make you question everything you see online. I'm serious. It's a wild idea that suggests the internet you're using right now might just be an illusion. So let me ask you something. Have you ever been scrolling, maybe late at night, and you just get this weird feeling? Kind of hollow, like you're just shouting into a void. And all the conversations you're seeing, they just don't feel quite real. You know what I mean? Well, if you've ever felt that, you are definitely not alone. That feeling of a hollow, empty internet, it's becoming more and more common. And guess what? There's actually a name for it, a theory that explains exactly what might be happening behind your screen. Okay, so let's move away from just a feeling and look at some cold, hard data. Because it turns out what you're sensing, it's backed up by some pretty shocking numbers. So take a look at this. This is the reality of the internet today. According to the latest cybersecurity reports, almost half of all web traffic isn't human at all. It's bots, automated programs just roaming the web right alongside us. Think about that for a second. Half. And believe it or not, it gets even crazier. A massive chunk of that bot traffic, we're talking about 32% of all internet traffic, is from what we call bad bots. Now, these aren't the helpful bots that organize information. No. We're talking about scrapers stealing content, spammers clogging up comment sections, bots designed to scam you. They are literally programmed to make our online experience worse. So, okay, the web is flooded with bots, and you're feeling that strange emptiness. So what's the deal? What do we call this? Well, there's a diagnosis for it. It's called the dead internet theory. So what is the dead internet theory? At its heart, it's the idea that the internet we grew up with, that authentic, kind of quirky, human-driven place, it's gone. The theory argues that what we have now is a landscape totally dominated by AI-generated content, and armies of bots, all designed to manipulate us, to change what we see, what we think, and definitely what we buy. So you might be wondering, how did this happen so fast? What was the tipping point? Well, it was the recent explosion of large language models, LLMs. Suddenly, creating text that sounds convincingly human became basically free. It was like throwing gasoline on a fire. The floodgates just swung wide open for endless streams of AI-generated articles, comments, you name it. Okay, to really get a grip on this, we need to break it down a bit. The whole theory kind of rests on three main ideas, three pillars, if you will, that explain how we got into this mess. All right, here they are, the three pillars of decay. First, we have what's being called AI slop. Second, there's SEO decay. And finally, this really interesting concept called the inversion of identity. Let's tackle each one. This right here is a perfect example of that first pillar, AI slop. I'm sure you've seen this stuff on your feeds, right? These bizarre AI-generated images like a log cabin shaped like a dog or something even weirder. So a bot posts this image, and then a bunch of other bots jump into the comments with just generic praise. Beautiful, amazing. The algorithm sees all this engagement and thinks, wow, this is popular. So it pushes it out to actual humans. It's this bizarre, closed loop of machines just talking to each other, and it's totally flooding our feeds with nonsense. Okay, next up is SEO decay. And this one you've definitely felt. Just think about how you use a search engine now compared to, say, 10 years ago. Back then, if you searched for a product review, you'd find a real person's blog or a forum thread with actual humans debating the pros and cons, right? But today, good luck. You're much more likely to get a wall of AI-written summaries from these soulless article factories. They're all perfectly optimized to rank on Google, but they have zero actual human experience or insight. The real, useful web is getting buried under all this junk. And that brings us to the third pillar, identity inversion. This one is deep. See, online, we're wired to trust what's popular, right? The thing with the most likes, the account with the most followers. But what happens when all of that is fake? When a bot farm can gin up 1 million followers overnight for anyone? Our entire sense of what's real and what's important gets flipped on its head. It's synthetic influence, and it completely messes with our ability to trust what we see. So look, this isn't just some nerdy, abstract problem for tech bloggers to worry about. This has very real consequences for all of us. It's creating a massive crisis of trust that's seeping into our daily lives, probably in ways you haven't even thought about. So why does this matter to you? Well, for starters, think about political manipulation. Armies of bots can create a fake consensus, making it look like everyone supports a certain idea or candidate, which can absolutely influence real voters.
Then there's the money. We're talking billions with a B of advertising dollars completely wasted on ads that are only ever seen by bots. And maybe most importantly, there's the hit to our own mental health. That quiet, creeping feeling of loneliness you get when you realize you're spending more time talking to algorithms than to actual people.
This quote I came across really just nails it. When you scroll today, you aren't looking at a window into the world. You're looking at a hall of mirrors designed by AI to keep you clicking. Wow. I mean, think about that. It's no longer a window out into the real world. It's just a hall of mirrors, reflecting back a distorted version of reality designed by machines, for machines, just to keep us scrolling. It's all about clicks, not human connection.
So, is the internet really dead, or is it just morphing into something completely different? And I guess the big question for all of us is, what happens next? Where do we possibly go from here?
Well, it seems like we're heading towards one of two possible futures. On one hand, you have this idea of fragmentation. People getting fed up with the big, chaotic platforms and retreating into smaller private communities. Like private Discord servers or paid newsletters, these little walled gardens where you can actually trust that you're talking to real people. The other path, it's something called the verified internet, where to even post something publicly, you might need a proof of humanity, like a digital passport, to prove you're not a bot. And really, that's the million-dollar question we're left with, isn't it? Is our future going to be a verified internet where we have to prove we're human just to speak? Or are we all just going to retreat into our own little private online worlds? The path we choose here, well, it's pretty much going to define what human connection looks like for a long, long time.